Hi there! For this video, we are going to divide decimals. So let us start with this example. So we have 6.3 divided by 7. So to divide decimals, we simply treat them like how we used to divide whole numbers. But we have a catch. So we can write this one as 7 divided by 6.3. So since we have a decimal point out here, what we do is we also put a decimal point above here. So that's the thing to remember when there is a decimal point in our dividend. So just to recall, these are the components in dividing. So if we have A, B, and C, this one is called the divisor, this one is called the dividend, and this one is called the quotient. So again, when we divide this, so we have 63 divided by 7, that is 9. So we put 9 out here. This one is 63. Subtracting them would give us 0. And so the final answer is 0.9. Now let's try this one. What if we have 5 divided by 0.8? So again, we can write this one as 0.8 divided by 5. Now in here, the problem is that our decimal point is now in our divisor out here. So what we do with that is we move the decimal points of both of them. So for this one, we move this one decimal point out here. And how about for 5? Well, we remember that we can write 5 as 5 with a decimal point here. So since it's a whole number, so we know that we can move out the decimal point out here and put a 0 out here. So we can write this one as 8 divided by 50. So applying the usual division would give us 6 out here. 48, subtract that one, would give us 2. Now since we need another 0 out here, we will add a decimal point this time. So bring down that 0, that would give us 20. So this one is 2. This one becomes 16. Subtract that one would give us 4. Since we don't have space, let's move it first. Oops. Like right there. Now we have, since we need another 0, we put the 0 out here again. Put the 0, oops, not there. Put a longer line out here. Then bring down that 0 so that we will have 40. Then 8 times 5 is 40. So we have this one. Subtracting would give us 0. And so the answer for this one is 6.25. And so that is the basics in dividing decimals. When we have a decimal point in the dividend out here, we bring out the decimal point up. And if we have a decimal point in the divisor, in this case, we will move it one decimal to the right, or depending on how many decimal places are there, since we want the divisor to be a whole number. So remember that 2 key points. Let's go on to this third example. If we have 8.1 divided by 0.9, so we can write this one as 0.9 divided by 8.1. Then again, we'll move the decimal point, so we moved it out here, and this one out here. So this one will be the same as 9 divided by 81, which we know to be 9. So subtracting give us 0, and thus our final answer is really 9. Let's try this one. If we have 18.6 divided by 0.3, so we can write this one as 0.3 divided by 18.6. So again, we move a decimal point out here just one time. So that will give us this. We can write this as 3 divided by 186, and applying the usual division would give us 6 out here. Subtract that one would give us 0. Bring down the 6, so this one would be 2. So subtracting that would give us 0. And so we have 62 as our final answer. So for these 2 examples, we had both decimals now in our divisor and dividend. So out here, our dividend, divisor, both decimals. So we just apply the same concept a while ago. We move the decimal points. And so let us try this one last example. If we have 1.995 divided by 5.7, so we can write this one as 5.7 divided by 1.995. Again, the key is to make the divisor a whole number. So we move this decimal point out here, move this as well here. So this one would become 57 divided by 19.95. And since we have a decimal point out here, we bring that one up right here. Oops. So we put a decimal point out here. So dividing, now this one is kind of tough since we have 199 out here and 57. So let's try to list out the multiples of 57 first, so we know what we would put out here. So we can put it out here. So we have 57 times 1 would give us 57. 57 times 2 would give us 114. 57 times 3, so what would give us? It is actually 171. And 57 times 4, it is actually 228. So clearly, this is the multiple that we are aiming for, the 3, since this one is already greater than 199. So we have out here 3, that would give us 171. subtracting it would give us 8, 2, and this one is 0. So no need to put that one. So we have 28. Bringing down the 5. So we have 285. Now for this one, we actually have 57 times 5 as 285. Note that you can feel free to verify these values with your calculator. And so we have 5 out here. So this one will become 285. Subtracting them will give us 0. And so our final answer is 0.35. And so that is how we divide decimals. Basically, the key is we first convert the divisor into a whole number by moving the decimal points. Afterwards, we arrive with this one. Now, if we have a decimal point out here like this one, in the dividend, so we move that one up out here. And so that is the two main keys in dividing decimals. Afterwards, it's just basic or the usual division that we do in whole numbers. And so that's basically it, and that is all for this video.